Yeah, this my testimony. Yeah, this my testimony. I'm running through the jungle and they tryna make me fumble. But mama, she made a king one of the grace, so I don't stumble. This my testimony. Yeah, this my testimony. I'm running through the jungle and they tryna make me fumble. But mama, she made the king one of the grace, so I don't stumble. I pray up to the stars, cause all these scars, they keep me humble. And I gotta get a bad for what we have, I make it tumble. Was a young and running around, was so hard-headed, stayed in trouble. Mama, now your son hot, check the pot, I'm starting to bubble. For the days I was stuck in the rain and I felt that pain, I make it double. On this track, I'm digging deep, so yo, I'm complete like this, my shovel. If you ain't thugging with me, you my enemy, I can't trust you. And if you cross that line, then bitch, you dying, I'm gon' bust you. And if you riding, then you dying, nigga, off the muscle. And I'm tired of mama crying, it's suicide, I'm tired of fussing. And I turned them to believers, thank you, Jesus, I came from nothing. And the niggas playing with demons, I done seen it for the money. When the folks off up that time and they talking, nah, nigga, is you right? When the ops fight down your block and make it hot, nigga, is you slide? You ain't never had no love for me, so nigga, why you lying? I done been through so much pain, I felt that hate, my soul be crying. I was raised up as a king, was taught to win, I claim what's mine. And I know that this my destiny, was made to lead my kind. And these people want the best of me, so I'm forever fight. Yeah, this my testimony. On me. Yeah, this my testimony. You know, I was raised as a young king, and they never want to see us prevail. They always try to make me fold. But I done been through my trials and tribulations, and through it all I stood tall and faced them head on. For any nigga out there that done been through what I done been through, stay solid. I just feel like I'm a prophet. I feel like God put me here for a reason. And all praise go to Yahweh.
Welcome, YouTube. Thank you, thank you. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. Welcome to Bolo TV. You know how we do it. It's Wednesday night. You guys can be anywhere, but you guys chose to be here with yours truly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd like to appreciate the love I've been getting. The love that the channel's been getting. Thank you, everybody. So, you know what today's topic is? Depression, suicide, and the power of hope and the village. Before we get started, let me give some shout outs to people in the chat. Beverly, Shah, Aura. Thank you all for showing up. And thank you all those that are just streaming and just watching. Thank you for being here tonight. So you know what we do here at Bolo TV. Here at Bolo TV, we believe in spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical wellness. So that's what we promote here. I put the link in the chat. So if you guys want to come on, if you're having some issues and you just want to talk, we will stop the topic and allow you to vent. That's what we do here. That's what the channel is created for those people that are at that breaking point, that need that edge taken off so that you can get the proper direction, so that you can get help. That's what we do here. So today we're going to talk about how important the village is. We're going to talk about what we need to do to get back from that sunken place. So you know how I do it. I always play a video and kind of give my commentary on what the video is and what we need to focus on and how we need to get better. So let's get it popping.
The TED team warned me that when I was announced as a speaker, some of you would Google me. If that was you, you'll have discovered I keep a very low profile. So by way of introduction, I asked a few friends to offer a few words as to the kind of person I am. Jill is the kind of person who lives life to the full, who believes anything's possible, who laughs from the belly. No one said the kind to suffer from depression. No one said the kind to attempt suicide.
So we're getting our feet dirty already. The one thing that we need to focus on, and I say this all the time in my personal life, and I think I'm going to start saying this on my YouTube streams, that the only person that you can lie to is yourself. That you shouldn't lie to is yourself. Lie to everybody else. Don't lie to yourself. Because you're the only one that has to live with you. No one else does. Everyone else chooses to live with you by decision. You have no choice but to live with yourself. So you have to be honest with yourself. When you look in that mirror, you have to understand that if you do have a problem, you have to admit to yourself that you have a problem. Whether it's substance abuse, suicidal thoughts, not knowing what your sexual orientation is, you have to understand that you have an issue. You have to understand that you're at a point where you're not functioning correctly. So you cannot lie to yourself. This is the only way you can get help. How does the Alcoholics Anonymous say? The only way you can get help is when you first admit that you have a problem to yourself. So you have to be truthful with yourself. This is why she said that when they Googled her, they found all the good things. But she's being truthful with herself. Suicidal, suffer from depression. So from the rip, let's start being honest with ourselves and with each other, and therefore we can help each other.
And yet, in the early hours of March 13th, 2013, I got out of bed, left my sleeping family, drove to a nearby bridge, and jumped. I don't remember the fall or the impact. I remember being found. I remember neck brace being fitted and being put into the ambulance. As I was being taken to hospital, 2 policemen would knock at my door and break the news to my husband. From there, the news would spread, causing shock and disbelief. Not surprisingly, I wasn't in great physical shape. Many of the bones in the right side of my body were broken. My lung had collapsed, my pelvis shattered. Neither was I in great mental shape. Thinking I'd already hit rock bottom, I now contemplated a life as a social pariah, confined to a wheelchair with limited access to my kids. So how on earth had I reached this point? It's difficult to say where my story begins. Roots into depression are complex. But let's start with the loss of my father.
Usually something traumatic happens to someone, and that triggers that mechanism in your mind to just break down and not be able to cope. With this woman, Gail Hayes, it was the start of her father passing. And some things like this happen to people where they'll have someone that's very important to them move on. And it's very traumatic for them. Some people might have or see someone get shot, molested. Whatever your issue is, there was something that traumatic that happened to you or something that you've seen happen. Remember that PTSD. It doesn't need to happen to you. You can see it happen. You can witness it happen. And your mind will always replay that moment in time over and over again. And it'll get you stuck. For her, it was the death of her father. And you see how it can spiral out of control. But we always have to go back to the root of it. You have to admit to yourself that you have a problem. Because when you admit to yourself that you have a problem, then you can get help. Then you can get the education and get the help that you need to be able to navigate through this world that we call mental illness, depression.
His death had prompted a major reevaluation of life. It was time to make some big changes. So, together with my family, we decided to up sticks and move to Devon.
And if you didn't know, this woman is from the UK.
Didn't know a soul here, but we believed we'd find a better quality of life. We'd live the dream. There were a few setbacks in our new life, but nothing we thought we couldn't handle. However, a year into our time here in Exeter, I realized that things weren't quite right. I started waking early. Things I previously enjoyed, I didn't want to do. I was becoming withdrawn. Social occasions were a real effort. My concentration levels were flagging. My thinking was becoming muddled. Making simple decisions became really difficult. What was going on? A little time on the internet suggested I was suffering from depression. Depression. Me. How embarrassing. What did I have to be depressed about? I thought about confiding in friends, but they had real problems. A seriously ill child, a dying friend, financial problems. I'd come to Devon to live the dream.
This is where most of the problems start. Where the enemy has you thinking that your problem isn't important enough for you to discuss it with your family and friends. What he does is he compartmentalizes you in that box so that you talk to nobody. So that now at this point, this is where the depression takes over. Because you have no one there to support you. You have no one there to help you. You have no one there to help guide you through that darkness where there's nothing but darkness around you. And sometimes you just need to hear that voice to guide you through the muck and the mire. But what depression does is it tries to keep you isolated so that you talk to nobody, so that you don't express how you feel. We can't do that. That's the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do. What you need to do is express how you feel. Forget that stigma that other people have issues. This is what family is about. This is what community is about. This is what the village is about. For us to talk to each other. You're not being selfish when you express your issues. You're not being a burden when you express your issues. You have to speak to somebody. The worst thing you can do is keep it to yourself. As we will see as we go further in this video, the worst thing you can do is keep it to yourself. Because when you're in shit, everything smells like shit. This is why when you go to the perfume stores, what do they give you? They give you that coffee grounds to break the monotony of the smell. Because after a while, everything starts to smell the same. Everything starts to smell the same. So when you're in your issues, you can't see that you have the issue. You have to talk to somebody. But it starts with you not lying to yourself. She knew she had an issue. But that stigma came in where she said, I didn't want to talk to no one. I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm going to chill. Everyone else is going through their issues. So you know what? I'm just going to not bother nobody. That's the worst thing you can do. Bother somebody. Because you don't know who you might be saving is your own life.
Whining to them that I was feeling a bit depressed. Really pull yourself together. I thought about going to see my GP, but I met a doctor at my practice socially. I didn't want her finding out my shameful secret. So I contacted the local depression service. They suggested a course of cognitive behavioral therapy. And as time progressed, my depression lifted. I could laugh and enjoy things. I could concentrate and engage with people. It was such an enormous relief. I decided to make up for time. It was time to come back and suck the juice out of life again. I was never going back to that dark place. With gusto, I threw myself into every aspect of my life. A few months later, I remember feeling a little under the weather. I just thought I was coming down with something. But no, the depression returned. This time, the descent was much more rapid.
So why did that happen? Because she didn't deal with the root of the issue. You know, when you want to chop down a tree, you don't chop at a branch. You chop at the root. She didn't go to the root. What she did was what a lot of us do is she went to the doctor and she received some medication or some medicine for the symptoms of what her problem was. So when she went to these therapists, she went to the therapist for the symptoms. Well, you know, I'm not feeling good. You know, I'm having issues. So they helped her with her issues. Her not feeling good, her not being able to sleep. She didn't deal with the heart, the crux of the issue, which was the beginning, my father dying, and whatever domino effect that had. They didn't deal with that. Believe me, I understand that. I talk from experience on that. Not dealing with the heart, the meat of the problem. You're not fooling nobody. You're only fooling yourself. Usually when a disease goes away by itself, with no help, no medication, when it comes back, it's stronger than when it came the first time. So the best thing for you to do is to get that help that you need. Don't lie to yourself, because you're not just hurting yourself. You're hurting the whole community. You're hurting the whole village. You're hurting everyone that loves you, everyone that is a part of your life. It's symbiotic, because not only are they a part of your life, you're a part of their life. When you hurt, they hurt. And if you're not around people that feel that way, then you need to get around people that feel that way. You need to learn to pick your friends better. Friends are a step below family. We use these words too lightly. Friends. People have to prove that they're friends. People have to prove that they're family, right? I don't have a choice in picking my family, but damn sure I have a choice in picking my friends. So I'm going to pick people that love me, that's going to tell me the truth, whether I like it or not, that's going to help me, that's going to be there for me through thick and thin, day or night, at the wee hours of the morning. This is what we do. We need to understand that you have to take charge of your mental fitness. You have to start taking charge. And how do you start doing that? By putting yourself in a position to win, by putting yourself around people that think like you, that feel like you do, that love like you do, that want to do right like you do, that want to leave this world better than they received it.
And it hit me much, much harder. I couldn't do the simplest of things. A trip to the supermarket was overwhelming. I stopped opening my post, my emails. I had no appetite. I tried to keep up appearances, but it was hard work. So I started to avoid people. I just seemed to shut down. My concerned husband made me see a doctor. I was given a questionnaire to gauge the severity of my depression. My answers confirmed that it was indeed severe, but I lied on the last two questions, the ones about suicide. How could I confess to feeling suicidal?
See, people think that because they're suicidal or they have thought of suicide, that makes you less of a person. That makes you human. None of us here are Superman. We all need each other. How can me, myself, I'm always the strongest person in the room. How can I think of committing suicide? How can I think of harming myself? The strongest of persons get weak. The strongest of people get hurt, cry, bleed. That doesn't make you less than. That makes you human. That's what it makes you. It makes you human. But this is where hashtag it takes a village. This is where they kick in. Because now when they see something, oh, Bolo ain't acting right. What's going on? Let me go holler at Bolo. This is where you have family. This is where you have friends. When you know each other, when you know something just ain't right. They're not talking the same. They're not walking the same. They're not laughing the same. You know something just ain't right. So let me pull that brother to the side and holler. Let me pull that sister to the side and holler. You have to get help. Because when you don't get help, you continue to cycle in the family. Because now by you not getting help, you don't see that your son or your daughter might need help. And you're caught up in your own whimsical theater that you don't see that they need help. You don't see your husband may need help. You don't see your wife may need help. See how ugly this can get?
What if they take away my children? The doctor prescribed antidepressants, said they might make me feel worse before I felt better. Worse than this, I wasn't taking them. And taking them will be proof of my failure to sort myself out.
The human psyche to always think that being weak is bad. The human psyche to always think that hurting is bad. What I've learned that in your weakness, when you can admit to you being weak, that shows your strength. When I talk to my brother Tommy Sotomayor, and he talks about how weak he is when he does certain things, and when I have conversations with him, I point out the strength, because through all your weakness, through all the fighting that you're doing personally, you're still able to get on and point out the right and the wrong that we do as a people. With all the flap that you get, you're still able to stand strong and still point out the right and the wrong. That's strength, man. If I don't know what strength is, if it ain't that, I don't know what it is. Strength is to fight through your weakness and still do what's right, even though it is so easy to do wrong. Even though it is so easy not to do anything at all. Strength is to say no more. There we go with that hashtag, no more. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to add my brick to this. That's strength. Whether 20 people hear you, 100,000 people hear you, or 1,000,000 people hear you, your voice is out there. Truth will reach those looking for truth. Help will reach those looking for help. If you're not looking for help, then these words are going to fall on deaf ears. Because this is about not only helping yourself, but helping the person to the left of you or to the person to the right of you. That's what this is about. That's what Bolo TV is about. Us helping each other as a community. Coming to Bolo TV and talking. Coming to Bolo TV and sharing your story. I would love people to come out of the chat and tell us about their depression, how they fought through it, how you fought through your suicidal thoughts, how you fought through all the things that put you in that sunken place. That's what we're here for, because your message, whether you believe it or not, your message will help somebody. It will help somebody, because there's someone thinking just like Miss Hayes is. I don't want to burden my issues with anyone, on anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone about my issues, my problems. They're going to look at me like I'm weak. But when you come on Bolo TV and you share your story, you share your strength, you're helping people. Because we need to get the message out there that that person going through what they're going through, whatever it may be, they're not the only person going through it. This is the issue. This is what depression does. It makes you think most of the time that you're the only person going through this issue, that you cannot talk to no one. No one will understand. Well, I'm here to tell you, we understand. We're not going to judge you. Total anonymity here. Come up on the show and talk to us. Share your story. Help somebody. Your story is not just your story. It belongs to the village. Share it. Maybe someone will sit there and go, I'm going through the same thing he or she is going through. And that's what they did to get past it. You know what? If she can do it, if he can do it, I can do it. All people need is a witness. All people most of the time need to see is someone did it. It doesn't seem that impossible if I know he did it or she did it. They ain't no different than me. They're human and bleed the same way I bleed. So if they can do it, I can do it. Stop feeling ashamed. We're going to put a new hashtag. No shame. Hashtag no shame.
I noticed the way I was behaving was starting to impact on my children. Unable to focus or function properly, I couldn't give them the usual levels of attention or support. My mind corroded by depression. I started to believe that this thing that was destroying me would take my family down too.
So you see how it's affecting the family now? Because of the matriarch. Because it affected her and her not getting help the way she needed to get help. It's starting to affect her children. Because believe it or not, children are so impressionable. And they need us to be on point when it comes to certain things and watch. Because they're going to make mistakes. And as parents, we're supposed to be on guard, right? We're the steward. We're supposed to be watching them. But how can we watch them when we're going through our own mental prison? We're in our own mental prison. How can we help anybody when ourselves we can't help? So you owe it not only to yourself, you owe it to your children, you owe it to your husband or wife, you owe it to your family to go get help.
I would not let that happen. Each morning, I'd wake at 1 a.m. I'd lie there for hours, telling myself how pathetic I was, what a coward I was for still being here, a burden to my family. I would be disgusted with myself by sunrise for still existing.
There's those demons. Sometimes I'm hesitant to connect the spiritual to the physical, but I can't be. Because these demons are in you telling you you're no good. You're not worth their love. Why don't you end it? When you succumb to those thoughts, well, let me retort that statement. Most of the time you succumb to those thoughts when you do not communicate, when you do not get help, when you do not let someone know that, listen, I'm going through something. I need help. You will succumb to those thoughts. Because you know why? You're going to really start to think that you're not worth the love, that you're not worth the hug. And that's furthest from the truth. You are worth the love. You are worth the hug. You are worth living. There's no strength in death, man. There's strength in living. That's where the strength comes through. Living with the ailments or the ailments that you have, living with the problems that you have and fighting through it. I know a few people in the chat that have problems, but every day they fight through it. Every day they manage to get up and fight through it. This is how you got to be. We are warriors in Christ Jesus, man. If he is for you, can't nothing be against you. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean that you don't take your medication. Doesn't mean that you don't get help. What it does mean is you have hope. And with hope, all things can be conquered. Hope is one of the foundations of life. When that hope is taken from somebody, you have no other reason to live. Hope.
This had to stop. Of course, I knew my family would be upset, but through this depressive lens, I believed that they'd be better off without me. My husband is an amazing father. He would do an excellent job in raising our children. We had a holiday planned. They'd have time to bury me, grieve, take a holiday to get over it, and come back to start a better life without me.
So you see, this spirit that was on her, these thoughts that she was having, she couldn't get help. This is what these thoughts do. It wouldn't let her get help, but it was allowing her to plot how life would be without her, that they would bury her, go on, have a vacation. You have to see through this. That fog, you have to see through that fog, man. And I know it's not easy. Easier said than done, but it can be done. You have to see through it. You have no choice. People love you. People want you here. And most of all, you deserve to be here. You wouldn't be here if you wasn't deserving of it. God wants to see you live. God don't want to see you die. So let's figure this out together. At Bolo TV, the family, the village, let's figure it out together.
Surely proof that depression does terrible things to your mind. The day before my suicide attempt, after dropping the kids at school, I pulled over on the side of the road. I just sat in the car feeling numb. I remember watching the buses. What if I just stepped out in front of one? But that wouldn't be fair on the driver. And what if it didn't work? I just maimed myself. That wouldn't help anyone. I then drove.
I want you to take notice of something, that she thought about walking in front of a bus. So you see how she says, no, I'm not going to step in front of this bus because it's not going to be fair. The effect of someone hitting me and killing me, that's going to affect them. So do you see how depression, how this demon makes you think about other people, but not even yourself? That she didn't want to put that bus driver through killing somebody and knowing the adverse effect that would have. And it would. You run somebody over and kill them, that's not going to be an easy thing for you to get over. You're human, right? So she can go that far. This is what depression does. It makes you rational for certain things, but irrational on other. That when it came to her finding help for herself, she didn't want to find it. But when it came to other people, she was able to think rational. We got to start understanding depression. We got to start understanding mental illness. We got to start understanding each other. And what does that mean? That means getting to know each other, because once I know who you are as a person, I am able to tell that something is off. If I don't know you, then I don't know when you're off or not. I put the link in the chat room. If anyone wants to come in and tell their story and share, you can. That's what this channel is about. It isn't about just hearing me talk. It's about hearing you guys talk. It's about hearing your story also. Because your story is our story. Your story is someone else's story.
Drove to a bridge where I sat in the car for hours. At one point, I wrote a suicide note and then ripped it up in shame. As I drove off, I remembered the diary in my bag that revealed my struggle with these awful thoughts. That would be too painful for someone to read after I'd gone. I stopped the car and destroyed it. I picked my daughter up from school and took her to a swimming lesson. She'd just moved class, so I was surprised to see familiar faces. I knew I looked dreadful. Pale, greasy-haired, exhausted. I was far from the bubbly, chatty person they knew, but I was beyond faking it. That night, I went to bed, and as usual, woke at 1 a.m. This time, no backing out. You have to do this. Don't stop, don't think, don't kiss them goodbye. So that's how I came to be lying on the road that cold March morning, a physical, mental, emotional wreck. As I lay there in my hospital bed, fearing the worst, something very beautiful happened. A big tidal wave of love and kindness from friends, family, and community arrived to carry me through this dark chapter. From friends, family, and community arrive to carry me through this dark chapter. From friends, family, and community arrive to carry me through this dark chapter. From friends, family, and community arrive to carry me through this dark chapter. From friends, family, and community arrive to carry me through this dark chapter. This was shown in all sorts of ways. But
friends, family, and community. Friends, family, and community. The village. This is why she's in the hospital bed. This goes to show you how strong the mind is, how strong the spirit is, the human spirit, that while she's out, she's feeling that love from her friends, family, and the community drape all over her, wash all over her. That hope. And that right there is the renewal. Because once you've almost taken your life, you know what depression does? It leaves. I'm done. My job is done. It leaves you. So now you're able to hear what the truth is. You're able to receive that love that you weren't able to see because depression was so strong and it kept you locked in that jail cell. Once it's finished with you, it leaves the door open. And now that's where family and love comes through. And you're able to come out of that jail cell and see what you've been missing. It's not about us missing you also. It's about what you're missing.
But what stood out were the many compassionate messages from people telling me of their own struggles with mental health. These were people I thought I knew, sharing sides I never knew existed. I had no idea the scale of this problem in our society.
And this is the problem. We don't know the scale of this issue in our society, especially in the inner cities. It's a pandemic in the inner cities. It is terrible in the inner cities. A lot of these inner city folk, they don't have the money. They don't have the education. They don't have the wherewithal to figure out how to get out of this loop. This is our issue. This is our issue. We need to start to focus. We need to start paying attention. We need to get this education. We need to share Bolo TV because everyone's on the internet. Everyone's on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. We need to share this. Let them know that they're not the issue. Let them know that they don't have to be numb to this so that they too become part of the issue. You seen that video of the PTSD? We have to let them know that you can stop this. You do not have to continue this. Let us love you. Let us show you a better way.
In my Mountain of Hospital post, I received a gift from George, a school friend of my son. This beautiful hand-knitted bookmark had a single word stitched onto it. That word was hope. This 10-year-old boy had summed up in one word what I so badly needed at that time. Hope is in short supply when you're depressed. Severe depression is a place of complete, total, and utter despair.
We're going to have a lot of hashtags. Hashtag hope. Depression is a place that's lonely. Depression is a place that is dirty. Depression is a place that's no light. It's a place that no one wants to be, but yet everyone's there. You know why? Because the lack of hope, the lack of understanding that someone does care about me, the lack of understanding that, you know what, someone wants to love me, someone wants to help me. We have to understand that this world won't be a better place without you. The definition of hope, a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. That's what we're lacking, that desire, that feeling of saying, I need help. Lacking the hope that someone will care. You lacking the hope that someone will actually reach out their hand and say to you, I'm here for you. Hope goes both ways. She lacked hope. But when she felt that shower of love fall on her from the village, and again, they may not have had the answer. They may not have had the answer, but just knowing that all of these people in the room are saying, we need you. We're here to help you. Jill, we're here because we love you. That's what we need the village for. Because when you realize that, again, it's symbiotic, right? I feel what you feel what I feel. When you have that hope, you're able to look past things. You're able to gain that strength and get up and say, you know what? Maybe today is going to be a better day. That's what hope does. Hope gives you that strength to move on, to believe, to want to live, to want to make a change, to want to help. Not only you, but other people. That's why I do this. I do this because I hope that people will come to this channel, and I hope that this will help them. I hope that that person that's about to commit suicide gives Bolo TV a chance. I hope they go get help from the numbers that I give, from the direction that I give you guys. I hope. And I pray. I can't do this by myself. I need you guys. Hope is very important to what we're trying to accomplish here at Bolo TV. To give that person that's thinking of doing something to themselves hope, to say you don't have to do that. We're here to help you. No judgment. We will not judge you. That does not mean that we're not going to tell you you're wrong, that you're wrong. Doesn't mean that. It means that, we're going to pick you up, dust you off, spin you around, and say, let's keep it pushing. You're not going to take this walk by yourself. You got friends here. That's what you need to understand. That's what I hope you guys receive from Bolo TV.
I needed to understand that I'd been extremely ill, and I needed hope that I could and would recover. My physical recovery, whilst long and painful, had a clear structure to it. There were milestones along the way, showing encouraging signs of progress.
So understand what she just said. The physical had a structure to it. There really isn't no structure to the mental. There really isn't no structure. It heals itself. How does it heal itself? From love, from prayer, from understanding, from education, from the village. That's how it heals itself. And whatever medication your doctor puts you or, prescribes for you, because it can be a chemical imbalance that you might have. Whatever it may be, all of these things are needed to work together for it to work. There's a lot of times when you hear doctors say, we've done everything we can do. They need to want to live. What kind of goddamn doctor prescription is that? These doctors are letting you know that there's something other than just the physical. There's something other than just what we can do physically to repair this body. That's what that doctor is saying to you, whether you get it or not. They are letting you know that that person has to want to live. If I said that right. They need to want to live. So that's letting you know that your spirit has a lot to do with this. So we need to understand that there's a higher power. We need to pray to the Father. We have to.